Hi Ditya, I hope you are doing well. In the last session, we have talked about the GitHub account, how to create the GitHub account. In today's session, we will be talking about few more things in detail. The first thing before going to the things in for a detail, the things which we should know is how to install the Git and how to configure the Git. That is a main thing. So in today's session, we'll first see how you do installation of Git onto a Mac OS and also how you configure the Git. First, as you can see the first link, githcm.com. You can go to this site. You can see I am on this site. So you can go to an option called as installs. Depending upon your operating system, means your laptop operating system. If you're using Windows, then you have to download the package for the Windows. If you're using a Mac OS, then you have to download the package of a Mac OS, or also you can use a command to install the Git onto your system. In my case, I'm using up a Mac OS, so I can follow a command directly. You can see brew install git. So I will copy this one command, and once you have copied, you can go to your terminal and paste it, and it will start installing the git for you. On the other hand, if you want to do it for the Windows, either you can use a command line or also you can use a exe file which you can download onto your system and then you can use it. Let it download, or you can say update on my system. Once it is done, I will tell you a command how to verify whether the Git is installed or not on your system. So now you can see that my Git is installed on my system. So if I type a command git hyphen hyphen version, you will see an output like this. So it means the Git is installed onto my system. This version can vary depending upon the OS, or if you have the older version of Git, that is fine. But the commands and all those things will remain the same. So you don't have to worry. It's obvious that you should have a latest version, but sometimes people forget to update their versions. They keep on using the older one. So it's fine if they are still using up. Now, if you're using downloaded the Git and installed a Git onto your system for the first time, then you have to do some pre-configurations. And one of the configuration is git config global. And using this command, I will showcase you on the PPT as well. It is the command git config hyphen hyphen global dot user dot name. Now, what is a usage of this command? So, there could be multiple repositories in your system. Now, in your system, like you are the one person, one developer, similarly, there will be another developer. Those will be modifying the code. Now, your system has to identify, or the Git history has to identify who has made the changes, when they have made the changes, and where they have made the changes. Time and date, it will be automatically tracked from your laptop, but who has made the changes, we have to inform to the Git. So if you're using a command called git config hyphen hyphen global, then all the repositories in that system will use the same username and the email ID. I will showcase you where does it presents. So basically, it is the configurations which you have to run. It is a one-time execution of these commands from a laptop. It tells that who has made the changes. So when you see the history of the logs of a Git, then you will see a username and the email ID. So that place to update it, you need this command. So here the first command is git config global user dot name. So here you need to provide your username and email ID by which you want to keep a record into a Git history. So for example, my name is Jatin. You it is advised you should keep up a same username or email ID as per the GitHub if you're using a GitHub platform. But if you use any other as well, that is also fine. Just but it is obvious that you should have your name, so that all the commits and changes which you are making, it can be identified through this name. So here I am doing git username and jatin.bhalla, and next I will run a command git config hyphen hyphen global user dot email. Using this command, you will be configuring the email ID of a person whose through which you want to keep a into a logs. So now you can see git config user email has been set. So was the initial configurations which is required. It's a one-time activity, git config commands. Later on in future, if you want to change the username and all, then also you can change it using up these commands into a git config files. Next, it comes if you want to do a setup. So what happens? There are two ways to create a repository. One repository is directly you create it from the GitHub platform, and then you clone it onto your system, or you can also initialize a Git repository on your system that will be on your local repository. That will not be on a any of the platform. That will be on your local. But what is a difference between both of them? If you're creating a git on your local, then you will not able to share it with the others until you attach it into any of the remote platform. Later on also you can do it, like you can create your first repository on your system, and later on you can attach it with the GitHub, Azure DevOps, GitLab, any platform. But if you don't want any place to share your code or files, you want to keep it on your local and want to maintain the complete logs and the version controlling, you can do that as well. So today I will first showcase you, if you want to create a local repository, how to create it. So like I'm using the Mac, I can also create the folder directly from here, like without going to the any of the file explorer. I can directly create a folder from here and using the command called mkdir, and I can say git demo, whatever name you want to keep it for that folder. Now the folder has been created. Using the cd command, I can go inside that folder. I want to convert this git demo folder as a repository which is on my local system. So what you can do, you can do a command called git init. Git init is a command which initialize a repository into that directory. Now, once your git init is done, you can see there are the few informations which you got it from here. So when you create any repository, by default, one of the branches get created that is called as a master branch, or in some places they call it as the main branch. What are the branches and what is the use of these branches? We will discuss in our upcoming videos. But if I showcase you, when you do a git init, it has created a repository inside that directory. Then, if you want to create a new file, either you can create a file directly from here, or you can also go it from the different place, whichever way you want to do it. If I check my directory over here, currently I am into a C users Jatin Bhalla Git demo. So I have created a folder over here. I can create a file, and if I have to create a file, I can do vim, and these are the same Linux commands which you run it on a Mac OS. So I'm using a Vim, and I will name some file abc.txt or something like that. It is your Vim editor. I will press I to put some data inside it, and let's say I'm putting hello Aditya. Okay, now once it is done, I can do escape and colon and WQ. So my file is created. Now, if I do just ls, you can see the abc dot txt. This is my file which got created. This file is saved but not yet, means I would say its history is not yet created into a git version controlling. To do that version controlling of this file, when I say version controlling of a file, to it means to showcase who has made the changes, when they have made the changes. To keep a track of all those things, you need to run some git commands. I have made the changes inside the file, but what changes I have made, if I have to keep a track of it, then I have to keep it inside the history of a git repository. So in that case, you will have to do a git add. That is your first command. Git add means you need to stage those changes. When I say stage those changes, you can say like it is like drafting up the changes which you have made. Now your dot means all the changes which you have made inside that directory. Which directory? Here in my case, the folder name is git demo. So inside this directory, so if I have made a changes into multiple files, then also git add dot will stage all the changes inside that directory. If you want a individual one, means let's say you have modified 3 files, but you want to stage or draft only for a single one, then you can explicitly give the name abc.txt. That will also work, but in that case you have to uh, do a drifting of only one file. But if you need to do a for a multiple files inside that directory for all together, then you can use a command called git add dot. Once it is done, you can also make sure what is happening over here inside your git repository using the command git status. So you can see one file when you see the green color and the file name. So there was a one file in which the changes has been made and it has been staged. So you can see the file name, new file, this. Now next, once it is done, you have to do a git commit hyphen m, and then you can put a some message. You can say new file, commit hyphen m, new file. What is the use of this command? So git commit will save the changes as a history inside the git version controlling of this repository. When I say hyphen m means you're putting up some message along with the commit. Why we pass up this message? This is kind of a very useful thing, because in future if you want to roll back the changes, or you can say multiple people or developers are working together and you want to identify what changes has been done, or what was the purpose of those changes, you can check it out from this message. So now if I ask you to understand from this message, you will easily read it out and you will understand that some new file has been created. In future if you want to put up a more descriptive message, you can do it, but it should be in a short format, not a longer one, short and understandable, because in future if you want to see the logs or everything, it will make your life or your day-to-day things much more easier. So it is advised to have a meaningful messages shorter, so that information can be passed on to the other developers. Once you run this command git commit hyphen m new file, you can see under the master branch, a new commit has been done. If you want to check the logs and all, you can use a command called git logs, and you sorry, git log. And when you run this command git log, you can see a commit id got created. Along with it, the username and the email id which we have done the setup today using the command git config global. The same command has there I have passed this username and email id. So the same username and email id has been used as a author details. Now it tells this person have made those changes. So if you are a developer, in your case you will use your username and the email id. It will help you to identify the person who is making up those changes, date and time will be auto calculated from your system. And here is the message, commit message, which shows under this commit ID, some changes to this file has been done. Now, if you see over here, commit, this is a unique ID which is self-generated by the Git. This will auto-generate, and this will generate when you will always run a git commit command. And when you will need to run a commit command, always when you will make a changes inside that Git repository. If you're making a single change as well, again you have to do a git add, then git commit, and git uh, uh, after doing the git commit, its history will be saved inside those complete history logs. Okay, now this was the things which I want to showcase you today. uh, if you have any questions, you can ask.
Can you please tell me again what is git config global do?
Git config is a command which is used to set up the configuration of a Git repository. It helps you to tell that who has made the changes. For example, earlier I have executed the command git config. Here I have I have set the name user.name, and so whatever the username and the email ID have done the setup, this will be showcased under the author details. Now in future, I will be pushing those changes into a GitHub. So when multiple people will be working on the GitHub, you and me, for example, we both are working together on a GitHub, and I want to identify who has made the changes on a file. So some person will be there who will be making up those changes, some person who will be running up the git commit commands. So who has done the git commit? Yeah, that is the author. And this information, how it will be known to the git configurations, for that you need to run the git config user command.
Okay. And sir, I guess after the committing the changes, we need to run a push command as well to push the changes to the GitHub.
So there are different things. Currently, the repository which I have created, like I told you, there are two type of repositories. One is local, and another one is remote. Currently, the repository which I have created, that is on a local system. This repository is still not connected to any of a GitHub platform. If you want to attach it with any of the GitHub platform, then you need to do some additional configurations, which we will do it. I will tell you in the upcoming sessions. In that session, I will first tell you how to link, or you can say attach, your local repository with a GitHub, and then you will need to run the git push and git pull commands. Those things we will discuss in upcoming sessions. Thank you everyone. See you on next video.